Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having the 11th and 12th house duplicated in a natal horoscope. When you have houses duplicated, you have the same sign on them, and they will always be consecutive houses. Now, when you have a duplication, it's going to integrate and amalgamate the energies or qualities of the houses involved, and the sign on it will flavor it. Now, if somebody has the same sign on the 11th and 12th house in their natal chart, well, this could be somebody that perhaps they have their friends, acquaintances strongly involved in things they do in privacy and seclusion, in solitude. Their friends may help them deal with their restrictions and figure prominently in perhaps doing so. This person perhaps they get they're involved as far as their aspirations and goals may be related to 12th house matters. Maybe this person becomes involved in prison work, perhaps being a counselor to prisoners, being a mentor for them, for example, and perhaps hospital work can be connected with goals and aspirations. This could be a person that part of their goals and aspirations may be connected with self-sacrificing, helping those that are less fortunate, such as the oppressed, the homeless, the impoverished, the hungry, people in better state of destitution. These people may do some humanitarian things that are done privately, perhaps that they don't really talk about. This could be somebody that has their friends, maybe they entrust their friends with some secrets that they have that they don't divulge to just anybody. Perhaps the friends are involved strongly in hidden matters connected with this person. This could be maybe somebody, as far as organizations, group involvement goes, maybe they get involved strongly with the metaphysical. Something connected with spiritual. Metaphysical can include astrology. The 12th house rules mental illness, and maybe this person is part of maybe their aspirations. Maybe they help those that may be mentally ill, that can't, perhaps in a lot of ways aren't able to help themselves. Now, on one negative side though, the 12th house rules secret enemies and adversaries. Perhaps in some cases, maybe friends or maybe some friends or acquaintances might wind up becoming this, so that is something maybe to look at if you have the same sign on the 11th and 12th house in your natal chart. This could be perhaps a person that perhaps through social networking, maybe they find groups that are associated with the 12th house, such as astrological, metaphysical, spiritual groups. This could be somebody that perhaps does things in a humanitarian manner that helps others deal with their restrictions, their limitations, their self-undoing. Speaking of self-undoing, perhaps this could come through some friends in some perhaps isolated remote cases. Well, and a lot of this depends on the sign that is on the cusp of the 11th and 12th house. Now, let's take an example. Let's say that Leo is on the cusp of the 11th and 12th house. Well, this could be a person perhaps on a subconscious or 12th house level may feel compelled to stand out and shine in group activities, in matters connected with their goals and aspirations. They may show a lot of pride and dignity in doing so. This person may show a lot of courage and fortitude, perhaps in connection with 11th and 12th house matters. The 11th house can be connected with humanitarian things, so this is almost a good double whammy, because Leo can be magnanimous and generous, and they can apply those characteristics as far as into humanitarian things, showing a lot of benevolence in this, and put maybe this person, 12th house can be connected with, corresponds with Pisces, can be connected with self-sacrificing, charitable things. Maybe this person may put a lot of money into some charitable organizations, be somewhat maybe even extravagant in doing so, but maybe doesn't talk to a lot of people about it. Maybe this person has a need to shine behind the scenes. This person may show maybe more gregariousness and extroversion in seclusion with their close friends, with their associates, maybe the things that aren't necessarily expressed outwardly as much. The person, if they had a Virgo ascendant, for example, would obviously show a demeanor that is really the antithesis of this, somebody that is that can be fairly shy and introverted. So if you look at this, you got to remember, if you have a duplicated signs houses in your natal chart, there's going to be a pair of interceptions that will come along with this. So let's say hypothetically that this person had the 11th and 12th house duplicated in Leo, and let's say that they had their 1st and 7th house intercepted. Well, having the 1st and 7th house intercepted could mean that this person may have difficulty finding equilibrium between things that are connected with their own lives, their own interests, and then the interests of others, which is the 7th house, connected with partnerships, relationships, and there might be an imbalance. Well, perhaps by taking the Leo characteristics and showing that those qualities of generosity, being magnanimous, showing things that are associated with pride, taking pride in perhaps applying this to themselves, to their own outer personality, which is the 1st, and in doing so, and taking that pride in their relationships, and really perhaps through, in this example, through 11th and 12th house matters, they find out what relationships they need to focus on, and then by doing so find the balance for their own needs, for their things connected with their own self, their own the person that they project, the outer demeanor, which is associated with the rising sign or ascendant or the 1st house. So that is something that you can look at, because when you have duplicated houses, you'll have a pair of interceptions, and the duplicated houses can be a way for one to extricate his or herself from the problems or difficulties associated with the interceptions in a natal chart. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having the same sign on the 11th and 12th house in a natal chart. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about having the same sign on the 12th and 1st house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.